Hey guys, welcome back to yet another Halo Theory video. Today we are discussing Cortana's odd behaviour in Halo 5, the possible causes of it, and its implications on the universe as a whole. Today I have 3 theories for you. 2 are my own theories that I've kind of culminated myself, and the third one is sort of debunking a very popular theory. I'm not entirely debunking it, because I do believe that there's a slight shred of it that could be true, but overall I don't believe the theory, so I'm going to try my best to debunk that theory whilst also providing you with 2 theories of my own. So my first theory is going to be talking about the Flood/Precursors. They're basically the same thing now, and how I believe they purposefully built the domain that's present in Halo 5 to corrupt AI that entered it. But first, I'm going to do a little recap about the Precursors and their relationship with the Flood. So, a very long time ago, when the galaxy was pretty much dominated by the Foreigners and the Precursors, the Foreigners randomly turned on the Precursors and attempted to eradicate them, and they were mostly successful. They killed a vast majority of the Precursors, and any of the surviving Precursors either went into sustained animation or ground themselves down into a dust to try and preserve themselves. Now, this dust ended up getting corrupted, and the dust then became the Flood. So you can class the Flood as the Precursors pretty much. And as we all know, the Flood's main goal is to, in air quotes, unify the galaxy by infecting every single living being so they all become one race, i.e. the Flood. Now, skipping forward a few years, when the Flood attacked the Foreigners and tried to wipe them out, the Foreigners fired the Halo Array, which destroys any living beings in the galaxy. And the domain is a living being. So the domain was destroyed when the array fired. So it's almost certain that the domain in Halo 5 has been rebuilt by something or someone at some point. So how does all this link into the domain in Halo 5? Well, my belief is that in the time between the Precursors being eradicated and modern day Halo, grave mines and key mines in separate galaxies, in other galaxies, have come together and either reconstructed the original domain, or they've constructed an entirely new domain using the knowledge that they personally have of the universe. And whichever option they decide to take, this new domain will have been constructed by the Flood. So it is very likely to be corrupted and to corrupt anything that even enters it. So when what remains of Cortana after Halo 4 enters it, she's promised the cure for rampancy, this really coincidental find, and then she ends up becoming insanely corrupted when she enters the domain and becomes what I'm going to call a puppet for the Flood, to help them control the galaxy by means of using the Guardians to police planets, which makes it very easy for the Flood to spread again and to get onto these planets and to fulfill their original goal, to unify the galaxy into one race, that being the Flood. So this theory basically sums Cortana's behaviour up to her being controlled by the Flood and corrupted, and in my opinion it makes sense, and I could really see 343 going in this direction to explain her behaviour. Okay, so my second theory is talking about the gap in between Halo 2 and Halo 3. That gap is 38 days long. Cortana is trapped on High Charity alone with the Gravemind for 38 days. The last time an AI was trapped alone for any extended period of time with a Gravemind, it led to the Logic Plague, and this was obviously in the case of Mendicant Bias. So for those who aren't quite sure what Logic Plague is, it's a Gravemind's method of infecting a non-living being through non-biological methods, and it can also be described as the information equivalent of a parasite. So a common example of this is when a Gravemind used it on Mendicant Bias, and it caused Mendicant Bias to turn to the side of the Flood. Now this does kind of seem like an unsupported theory, however when you dive into the dialogue and actually look at it in detail from Halo 3's mission Cortana, you actually find quite a few interesting quotes. I'm going to talk about 2 of these quotes now. The first one is by the Gravemind, and he says,
"Of course you came for her. We exist together now, 2 corpses in one grave."
Now, when I went back and listened to this quote when preparing for this video, to me, it sort of seemed like he was talking about Cortana and the Graveminders sort of working for the same faction now, that being the Flood. So, therefore, they are existing together and are being a part of the same grave when this particular Flood infestation is destroyed. It's sort of a weak link, but at the same time it is kind of interesting when you think about that quote in the context of Logic Plague. He's referring to the Flood and Cortana as almost becoming one together, so that could support the Logic Plague being a factor in Cortana's rampancy. Now the second quote is said by Cortana just after Chief rescues her. She says,
"But so much of me is wrong. Out of place. You might be too late."
Now, I mean, come on. If this doesn't say Logic Plague, I don't know what does. Because she's basically saying that a lot of her has been corrupted and has changed and is irreversible, and that Chief might be too late to save her from corrupting. I mean, if that isn't evidence supporting the Logic Plague, then hell, I don't even know what is. So, as promised, my third theory would be more of a debunking of a popular fan theory, and that is relating to a rampant fragment of Cortana surviving the end of Halo 4, entering the domain, and becoming the physical embodiment of Cortana in Halo 5. So this theory, what does it say? Basically, at the end of Halo 4, when Cortana duplicates herself and splits up into many different Cortanas to save Chief from the Didact, one of the fragments that splits off from her original self is a rampant fragment. Fair enough. The theory then goes on to say that when the Mantle's approach crashes on Genesis and Cortana finds the domain and enters it, it's actually a rampant fragment of Cortana that finds the domain over a regular fragment, or just a different fragment of her that split off from her original self. This then means that, as I said before, the physical embodiment of Cortana in Halo 5 is in fact not Cortana as a whole, it's just a small rampant fragment. Now, the reason I personally don't believe this is because Cortana preaches a lot in Halo 5 about the domain supposedly being the cure for rampancy. The reason a lot of people think this theory is true is because Cortana seems to be acting in a rampant way in Halo 5. Well, if a rampant fragment of Cortana entered the domain, which supposedly cures rampancy, surely she would not be acting in a rampant way. I mean, yeah, she does act in a more calm and collected way in Halo 5 compared to her rampant self in Halo 4, but her behaviour is definitely not that of a normal AI. There's definitely something up with her. Now that's all I'm going to talk about this theory in this video. Please leave a comment down below if I missed anything about the theory, or if I got anything wrong. I don't think I did, but if I got anything wrong, please drop it down below and tell me. Also, don't forget that I'm not saying that this theory is completely incorrect. I personally don't believe in it, but I'm not saying it's entirely incorrect. There's definitely some weight to it. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this theory video. Next up will be a Halo Combat Evolved Magnum preview. It should be up tomorrow night. I've been working on this thing all week, and I think it looks amazing. So I'm hoping you guys will enjoy it. Also, I'm going to be live streaming quite a lot over the next couple of weeks, so if you want to stop by my YouTube channel whenever you get a notification saying that I'm live, that'd be great. We can play some Warzone together, we can play some Customs together, we can play some Arena together, anything. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget that a like and comment go a long way, and if you're new here, subbing helps me out loads as well, so please, if you enjoyed this video and you're new here, do not forget to subscribe. Thanks a lot guys, and I'll see you in the next video.